Mr. Lawson.
London. Yeah. Then we can start with the lesson.
I was too busy.
We have 5 seconds left.
And see if I'm lying.
Do not be handing out any during my lesson.
Do you have allergies?
Not bad.
Wait, Miss Lawson, is that study guide our homework?
What? It says homework, study guide.
This is my stuff.
So I have a group point for table number 3. A group point for table number 4. Table number 5. Is that a seal?
Yeah.
Table number 5. My last table in the back. You can cash out later on.
There's 3 people that cash out.
So, remember that when we get down to 0 minutes, it should not take me having to give you guys a redirection to transition into the lesson. You guys already know what time it is. When that clock gets down to 0, you guys automatically transition yourself. Keep that in mind. So, the science class today, what we're going to be doing is a continuation of what we started on yesterday. So I'm going to need your undivided attention, much like you guys do any other day. I want you guys to be yourselves. However, I need a very high level of participation. That's one of the goals that I'm going to be looking for today. One of the things that I'm going to be on the lookout for is a high level of participation. Take a look at the board. Take a look at the board, you guys. So let's recap from yesterday. So we have a picture of a hurricane, which is another form of a natural disaster, right? And we have another picture of some nutritional health bars, right? Raise your hand if you can tell me, what do those 2 things have in common with what we're going to be doing for the next 8 days in science class? What do those 2 things have in common with what we're going to be doing and studying in science for the next 8 days? I have 3 hands raised. I have 4 hands raised. 5, 6, 7. Hands are down. Eyes tracking. Zoe in the back.
I think those 2 things have in common is how we're going to, I think she said like design something or like how to make it and use, it was something, but she said we're going to be designing it or making it. So I think that it has to do with a natural disaster like a tornado or a hurricane.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I get what you're saying. Who could help out just a little bit? What does this picture of a natural disaster and these health bars have in common? Who can make the connection? It's just a recap from what we did yesterday, the introduction to the lesson. Eyes tracking Zamir all the way in the corner.
Okay, so what Zoe's trying to say that we're going to be designing health bars for people who are in the hurricane and...
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be a hurricane?
no.
It can be any natural disaster, right? And what are these health bars going to help to do with people who have been involved in natural disasters of any sort? Eyes tracking London right here, you guys.
These health bars are like going to help people.
Hold on, wait 1 second, London. I need all eyes tracking London. Go for it, London.
These health bars are like helping people who have like certain things that happen to them during the natural disaster.
Yeah, right? So remember with 3 criteria that our health board is going to have. Raise your hand if you can recap what those 3 criteria are. Or at least give me 1. Give me 1 some more.
Taste.
Taste is 1. Give me another, Isaiah.
Low cost.
Low cost. It can't be expensive because we have to feed a large amount of people with this health bar, right? And my 3rd one, yes.
The right amount of vitamins.
Yeah, the right amount of nutritional ingredients, right? To make it as healthy as possible, so that way it can help give the people who've been affected by this natural disaster everything that they need in order to repair their muscles and in order to have energy, right? So our objective, who can read the objective that's on the board for me? And take it away from me, Emily, in the back.
Students will be able to explain how the ingredients added to the
Bar Write that down, you guys. Write that down so it's engraved in your minds for the remainder of this lesson. It's on the first page with the word objective above it. I have 100% of my students quickly writing down their objective. Take about 30 more seconds. Thank you, Kid. We're about to get into our text where we're going to read and we're going to annotate, right? We're going to read and we're going to annotate. What do I have in red at the bottom? Raise your hand. What do I have in red at the bottom? What are those words? What are they, Shalir? Why are we going to look over the questions? I'll wait. Thank you, Zamir. Why are we going to look over the questions first, Zamir?
We're going to look over the questions first so we can see the questions and know what we're looking for.
We're going to look over the questions first. So that way, we know exactly what it is that we're looking for in the text, right? So flip to the next page. The questions look like this, you guys. I believe it's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is kind of on the back. Take 30 seconds to silently and independently look over these questions. I have Zamora's eyes down on her paper looking over her question. Caden's eyes are down on his paper looking over his questions. It looks just like the one that I'm holding up in front of you if you need any assistance. Let's flip back to our text. Read and annotate. Let's flip back to our text that's labeled read and annotate at the top. This text is really going to help to guide the remainder of our lesson. So make sure that you're participating and you're annotating as well. What does it mean to annotate? Just a refresher, because I really need awesome annotation during this text. What does it mean to annotate? What do you say, Isaiah?
What do you mean to annotate?
And I like how eyes automatically tracked Isaiah as soon as I called upon him.
To annotate means to like highlight the important parts of the text.
Yeah, so you can highlight important parts of the text, or if you don't have a highlighter, you can what, class?
Underline.
You can underline. What do we do with the smiley faces? Raise your hand. What can we do with the smiley face while we're reading? Because that's a part of our annotation tools as well. What can we do? Yeah, so the smiley faces represent you marking something new that you may have learned, right? Never knew that before, right? So you put a little smiley face next to it, right? What does an asterisk represent? Just a quick refresher. What does an asterisk on your text represent? What does it represent, Shannon, in the back?
Something very important.
Something very important, right? So let's go on ahead and get into it, you guys. I'm going to kick off reading, and then I'm going to call on somebody very special to pick up reading for me. Eyes are down, tracking the text. So you probably know that you need to eat protein. But what exactly is it? Many foods contain protein, but the best sources are beef, poultry. Who knows what poultry is? What's another word for poultry? Raise your hand. What do you think, Zamora?
Like pig or like.
Not quite. That would be pork. Yes.
Turkey.
Oh, well, yeah, chicken, turkey. Yeah, exactly. You got it, man. So the best sources are beef, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy products, nuts, seeds, beans, and vegetables, you guys. Isaiah, could you pick up reading by protein builds?
Protein builds, maintains, and replaces the tissues in your body. Not the tissues you blow your nose in. we mean the stuff your body's made of. Your muscles, your organs, and your immune system are made of mostly of protein.
Yeah. So make sure you're underlining only things that you know you're going to need to answer your questions later on. Could I get Zamir to pick our reading by Your Body Uses?
Your body uses the protein you eat to make lots of specialized molecules that have specific jobs. For instance, your body uses protein to make hemoglobin.
Raise your hand if you ever heard of the word hemoglobin. Good job. Remember, you guys have got to make those connections back to our prior knowledge and information. Keep reading.
The part of red blood cells that carries the oxygen to every part of your blood.
Yeah. So protein, you guys, is necessary. I'm going to say it again. Protein, you guys, is necessary for repairing tissues, right? Why would our health bar need a great amount or a specific amount of protein in it? Why would protein be an important ingredient in our health bar? Every part of your protein bar. Hands on, eyes tracking mind. Let's see what she has to say. Thank you, Bruno.
Protein could be a necessary ingredient in your health bar because they could give people the energy they need, like rescue workers. And
we're not so much focused on energy just yet, but what did we just read in the text that protein is good for?
Oh, it's good for your muscles.
It's good for your muscles, right?
Your immune system.
And your immune system. So let me ask you this. If a natural disaster has just taken place, there's a chance that people could be in danger or they could have been hurt. Exactly, they could have been hurt. A nutrition bar that's high in protein can help aid them how? By connect it all together.
They can help aid them by
Repairing their what?
repairing their muscles and immune system.
Repairing their muscles, tissues, and also helping their immune system. Who can pick up reading where we left off? Shannon.
Other proteins are used to build cardiac muscles for growth and...
Yes, you are more than welcome to disconnect any part of your package. I have 100% of my scholars who got straight to work after the instructions were given. Looking for a group that I can award any type of group point to. Because their eyes are down, they're focused, they're working independently. Good job, Frank. Remember to write complete sentences, please, you guys. Unless you want, but I'm sure you're going to turn it around. I have a group point for table number 3. I like how I looked up and everybody at that table was completing work. Looking for some more groups to award. Got 100% of my scholars on task. Keep it up. 4 minutes on the clock. Table number 5. About a minute on the clock. Don't forget about 5 on the second page, you guys. Don't forget to answer number 5 on the second page. You need just a little bit more time. Using your fingers, put up how many more minutes you need from 1 to 2. From 1 to 2. We have 2 more minutes on the clock. If you are done, you may read. If you are not, continue to work. I need you guys to be complete by the end of these 2 minutes. Okay, I heard people snapping because they agree with them, right? Remember, whenever you agree with something, it's okay to snap, right? Take a look at number 2 for me. Read number 2 out loud for me, Jabbar.
What is the job of protein in the body?
Hell, what is a job of protein in the body? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hands raised, 9, 10. I love the amount of participation that I see. Shannon, what's the job of protein in the body, sir?
The job of protein in the body is protein builds, maintains, and replaces tissues in your body.
Okay, some people agree. Is there anybody who disagrees? Okay, that's where the snaps are coming in at, right? So, read it one more time for me.
The job of protein in the body is that protein builds, maintains, and replaces the tissues in your body.
It's very important that you remember that, you guys, because you're going to need that in the next part of the lesson. Take a look at number 3. Jordy, read number 3 for me, please.
Explain the job of hemoglobin in the body.
Explain the job. Kid.
4.
4. Sorry.
What are the 2 main types of carbohydrates?
Carbo. I'm going to help you out. Carbohydrates. What are the 2 main types of carbohydrates? Shalea, what do we have, sweetheart?
The 2 main types of carbohydrates are sugars and starches.
Sugars and starches. That's another important thing that I'm going to need you guys to remember for the next part of the lesson. Sugars and starches. So carbohydrates give people what? Raise your hand if you have it. Raise your hand if you have it. Carbohydrates give people what? Bruno? No, I'm simply asking you. Carbohydrates give people what? How do carbohydrates help to aid people? How would it aid somebody who is in the midst or who was just affected by a natural disaster? It would give them what? Who could help them out? Yes. It would give them energy. It would do what, Bruno? It would give them energy, right? So associate carbohydrates with energy. Flip to number 5. Zoe, read number 5 on the back, please.
The body breaks down carbs into what?
The body breaks down carbs into what? And I love how I see people actually changing their answers on their paper and filling in any information that they may not have had. The body breaks down carbs. Another word for carbohydrates is carbs. Breaks down carbs into what? Zamir, help me out, man.
The body breaks down carbs into glucose.
It breaks it down into glucose, you guys. Another word for glucose is what, class?
Sugar.
Another word for glucose is what, class?
Sugar.
It's sugar. Flip to the next page. Because here's why I want you guys to have as much time as possible, right, before we get into partner work. I want you guys to focus on this page in particular, right? How many different ingredients, raise your hand, how many different ingredients do you see present on this page that's in front of you? How many, Esmeralda? 9 different ingredients, you guys. So starting tomorrow, when I bring out the computers and we begin to use the Sims, right? You guys are going to begin creating a health bar using any combination of these 9 ingredients you would like, right? So I see raisins, pumpkin seeds, puffed rice, right? A lot of different ingredients. Dark chocolate chips. Now here's what I need you guys to do next. Here's what I need you guys to do next. Flip to this page, you guys. Flip to this page. Yeah, the chart, the graph. So as scientists, it's very imperative, another word for imperative is important. It's very important that you guys know how to interpret data. Take about 15 seconds to look over this graph and raise your hand once you can tell me what information this graph is displaying. Have one hand raised. Yeah. After you look over the graph, just raise your hand if you can tell me what information is the graph displaying. Real simple. What information is the graph displaying? I like my strong silent hands. These people are showing me that they're ready. Looking for at least 2 more hands before we move on. For at least 2 more hands before we move on. All right. Zamora, what information is this graph displaying? And I like how eyes are tracking Zamora.
This graph shows what ingredient there is, all of the ingredients. Then it shows how much protein each ingredient has.
Okay, so it shows ingredients such as protein, carbs, what else? Keep going, sweetheart. Glycemic. Everybody say glycemic.
Glycemic.
Yeah, glycemic index. What else? Keep going.
And I assume they had someone taste all of them, so there's a taste score.
And the higher the taste score must mean what?
The better.
The better what?
The better.
Kid.
4.
4. Sorry.
What are the 2 main types of
Carbo. I'm going to help you out. Carbohydrates. What are the two main types of carbohydrates? Shalea, what do we have, sweetheart?
The two main types of carbohydrates are sugars and starches.
Sugars and starches. That's another important thing that I'm going to need you guys to remember for the next part of the lesson. Sugars and starches. So carbohydrates give people what? Raise your hand if you have it. Raise your hand if you have it. Carbohydrates give people what? Bruno? No, I'm simply asking you. Carbohydrates give people what? How do carbohydrates help to aid people? How would it aid somebody who's in the midst who was just affected by a natural disaster? It would give them what? Who could help them out? Yes. It would give them energy. It would do what, Bruno? It would give them energy, right? So associate carbohydrates with energy. Flip to number 5. Zoe, read number 5 on the back, please.
The body breaks down carbs into what?
The body breaks down carbs into what? And I love how I see people actually changing their answers on their paper and filling in any information that they may not have had. The body breaks down carbs. Another word for carbohydrates is carbs. Breaks down carbs into what? Zamir, help me out, man.
The body breaks down carbs into glucose.
It breaks it down into glucose, you guys. Another word for glucose is what, class?
Sugar.
Another word for glucose is what, class?
Sugar.
It's sugar. Flip to the next page. Because here's why I want you guys to have as much time as possible, right before we get into partner work. I want you guys to focus on this page in particular, right? How many different ingredients, raise your hand, how many different ingredients do you see present on this page that's in front of you? How many, Esmeralda? 9 different ingredients, you guys. So starting tomorrow, when I bring out the computers and we begin to use the Sims, right? You guys are going to begin creating a health bar using any combination of these 9 ingredients you would like, right? So I see raisins, pumpkin seeds, puffed rice, right? A lot of different ingredients. Dark chocolate chips. Now here's what I need you guys to do next. Here's what I need you guys to do next. Flip to this page, you guys. Flip to this page. Yeah, the chart, the graph. So as scientists, it's very imperative, another word for imperative is important. It's very important that you guys know how to interpret data. Take about 15 seconds to look over this graph and raise your hand once you can tell me what information this graph is displaying. Have one hand raised. Yeah. After you look over the graph, just raise your hand if you can tell me what information is the graph displaying. Real simple. What information is the graph displaying? I like my strong silent hands. These people are showing me that they're ready. Looking for at least 2 more hands before we move on. For at least 2 more hands before we move on. All right. Zamora, what information is this graph displaying? And I like how eyes are tracking Zamora.
This graph shows what ingredient there is, all of the ingredients. Then it shows how much protein each ingredient has.
Okay, so it shows ingredients such as protein, carbs, what else? Keep going, sweetheart. Glycemic. Everybody say glycemic.
Glycemic.
Yeah, glycemic index. What else? Keep going.
And I assume they had someone taste all of them, so there's a taste score.
And the higher the taste score must mean what?
The better.
The better what?
The better.
It's helping his partner.
Carbohydrates that break down
And ones that break down slowly have a what? A low glycemic index. So if I want to find out what food is going to give me a big burst of energy, am I going to look at, which one am I looking at? And the higher the number, the what? The bigger the which one?
He did not. You was the one that said it was dark chocolate. So
We're gonna using your fingers 1 to 2. How many more minutes do we need? 2 more. So let me just pull us back for a second to recenter us. So before I put 2 more minutes on the clock, I just want to bring attention to some things that I'm noticing during the group work. I don't necessarily have 100% of my scholars giving their best effort toward the group work. This grade counts. It matters. So as I put 2 more minutes on the clock, I expect these 2 minutes to be spent with everybody engaged in rich conversation, only with the person next to them. By the end of these 2 minutes, I need all 4 of my questions answered. If you got it, say got it.
Got it.
2 minutes on the clock.
The last
Well, look right here. What is this one say? Exactly is in here. And are you looking for the biggest number or the smallest? There you go. That's it. Yep. So look at this one. So look at this. I'm going to speak this. Look at this. Read that. I like the voice level, and I like the conversation that I'm hearing. So if it breaks down slow, is the glycemic index going to be high or low? So if it has a low glycemic index, that means it breaks down slow. So it's going to give you a steady amount of energy, not like that one quick burst. Which one of these is exactly, now which one is going to give you that steady amount of energy? You're right. Yep. You're right. So take a look at this one again. So if it breaks down slowly, is that giving you a big burst of energy or slow, steady? Exactly. So which one of these, you guys? Are you looking for the bigger number or the smaller number? Write it down. Which ingredient is best for growth and repair? So when we say growth and repair, you have to refer back to what we did at the beginning of the lesson. Carbohydrates to give the energy. What was good for growth and repair? What's the word that begins with T? Protein, exactly. So now you're going to look at your chart and you're going to find out which one is high in protein, and that might be good for what? Growth and repair. Good job. It's looking good over here. Make sure my man has everything that he needs written down because I'm calling on you to answer some questions, okay? All right. Thank you. So which one of you guys need to be assistant? Okay, so explain to me how you got number 4.
Because,
You have about 5 more seconds, you guys.
3 years later, we got, it was, carb, no,
Because of the glycemic index, were you looking for the bigger number or the smaller number? Well, to store energy later, right? The smaller, because the smaller number means that you get the energy, but it's just released slowly.
So it's nutrition.
Exactly. So you look at me?
1, 2, eyes on you.
So let's try that one more time. 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me.
1, 2, eyes on you.
I'm waiting for all of my eyes before I move on. All right, so I'm really ready to get into the midst of some really, really deep conversation around the work that we just did. Around the work that we just did and completed, right? Can I take yours? Is that mine? Oh, thank you. All right. Appreciate you, man. So if you take a look at number 1, you guys. You take a look at number 1. Who can read number 1 out loud for Mr. Lawson? Who can read number 1 out loud? Go for it, Bruno.
Which ingredients produce the best tasting?
Yeah. So which ingredient produces, or ingredients, I need at least 2. That's all I'm looking for. Which ingredients produce the best tasting candy bar? A nutritional bar. I can't keep calling it a candy bar, right? The chips and the raisins.
I looked at the graph on the taste score.
The graph, and then she referred back to the section of the graph that had taste score. Take a look at number 2. Take a look at number 2 for me. Shannon, could you read number 2 out loud for me, please?
Which ingredients produce the best bar for growth and repair?
Ooh, which ingredients produce the best health bar for growth and repair? If we refer back to the beginning of the lesson, right? We went over carbohydrates and we went over proteins. Which one of the 2 are better for growth and repair? Carbohydrates or proteins? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hands are raised. Carbohydrates or protein? Which one is better for growth and repair of tissues? Yes. The protein. So, if protein is better for growth and repair of tissues, class.
Yes.
Which part of the chart am I going to look at to find out the needed information?
Protein.
It's going to be the what class?
Protein.
The percentage of proteins, right? So my answer to number 2, raise your hand. My answer to number 2 would be what, Lavelle?
Natural yeast. Nutritional yeast.
People are agreeing? Okay, nutritional yeast, and what else? What else? Give me one more before we move on. Nutritional yeast, and what would be the second one? Yes, sweetheart. We agree? We agree? Pumpkin seeds as well, right? All right, what number are we on now, you guys?
3.
Read number 3 out loud for me, Zamir.
Which ingredients produce the best bar for getting an immediate burst?
An immediate burst of energy. Proteins and carbohydrates. Proteins are good for the repairing of tissues and Zamora. What do we get from carbohydrates?
From carbohydrates, we get mostly like save energy.
We get energy, right? We get energy from carbohydrates. So if I wanted to find out what ingredient is going to give me the biggest burst of energy, right? Because these people have been involved in a natural disaster, right? Something tells me that they're going to need as much energy as quickly as possible. What part of the graph am I going to look at that's going to give me that piece of information? Looking to see who could have interpreted that information the best and who can articulate it to their classmates the best. I have 2 people willing to give it a try. Yeah, no problem. So where am I going to look at on the graph to figure out which ingredient is going to give me the biggest burst of energy? I have 4 hands raised now. 5. I have 5 hands raised now. Ma, you want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Go for it. I'll walk you through it. Okay, the carbs. You're absolutely right. Because the carbs give us what?
Sugar and starch.
Sugar and starch, right? Sugar and starch. Or sugar and glucose, right? And we know sugar and glucose are tied to, what's that E word, Mike?
Energy.
Energy, right? Thank you. It's tied to energy. So with that being said, the glycemic index gives us what information? Because now we need to kind of refer back to that glycemic index portion. The higher the glycemic index, what does that mean, Mike? The more energy it gives, but how? Slower or faster? The faster the energy is given, or the faster the energy gets to the, what's the C word? The faster the energy gets to the, sugar and glucose is no good. unless it gets to the what in the body? Who could help out? Strong silent hands. Sugar and glucose means nothing unless it gets to the what in the body to go through cellular respiration. Think back to prior knowledge. Yes. Unless it mixes with oxygen inside of the bodies, begins with the C. We have to think back to our prior knowledge. You want to give it a try now? Circulatory system is when it gets into the blood, and when it gets into the blood, it has to get into the what, Zoe?
Cells.
The cells.
Oh.
Remember, cellular respiration happens in the cells. It happens where, Maya? In the cells, right? So, the higher the glycemic index, the quicker the burst of what, class?
Energy.
The quicker the burst of what, class? Energy. Which one of these ingredients is going to give us the quickest burst of energy? I have 3 hands raised. All you're doing is simply looking at the chart and interpreting information. I have 6 hands raised, 8 hands raised. Jody, which one of these ingredients is going to give us the quickest burst of energy?
Puffed wheat.
Puffed wheat, and give me one more. Give me one more, Jody.
Rice.
Puffed rice. Write it down if you do not have that answer. Write it down if you do not have that answer. Frankie, do Mr. Lawson a favor, man. Could you read number 4, please?
Which ingredients produce the best bar for storing energy to use later?
Yeah. So the last question asks us what ingredient could we use to get the biggest burst of energy. Now we want to find out what ingredient is going to give us not the lowest, but the most stored energy over a period of time, right? So that way the energy is used at a very even pace, right? And not quite a quick burst. Shalyn, how can we find that out?
You can find it out.
My name is Troy Lawson. I teach 6th grade science. Yeah, so they were learning about nutritional facts and how the food that you eat from day to day can actually play a big part in the daily functions of your everyday life. The students were given a scenario. They had to create a health food bar where it would help assist people who had just been affected by a natural disaster. So the nutritional bar had to be packed full of a lot of healthy things, so that way the injured person or the first responder got all of the nutritional pieces of food necessary in order to carry out their daily functions. I take that into consideration every time I actually sit down to create a lesson plan. Like, I input in the lesson plan, where am I going to ask probing questions at, whether or not it'll be a turn and talk, whether or not it'll be a call and response. So it's planned beforehand and embedded into the lesson when I'm going to use certain engagement techniques. Making sure that I have a clear understanding of the curriculum and what it's asking. Sometimes the curriculum is really, really awesome, and then sometimes it's lacking in certain places. So as I sit down and I plan out my instruction, it's very imperative that I have a really, really thorough understanding of the curriculum, and that I supplement in certain parts where it's needed, so that way it meets my level of rigor and my expectations for the students as far as engagement is concerned. Yeah, so plan it out beforehand. First, settle on 2 or 3 techniques that you really, really want to use day in and day out and get really, really well at, and then make sure that you actually embed these things into your lesson plan, and that it's just not something that you do on a whim. Take out time, figure out what parts of your lesson are going to involve a little bit more student engagement, what parts of your lesson are students going to begin to tune you out, essentially, and just plan for those things in advance, so that way it's not a surprise when it happens and you don't find yourself flustered. Students are moving more into a realm of independent work. So right now we spent a lot of the school year like really setting foundational skills, so that way they can they can know what's expected of them. They can know the bar of rigor that's necessary for them to reach. So now we're moving into a realm where they're going to be responsible a lot for their own learning, and it's going to be a lot more partner work. It's going to be a lot more individual work, and it's going to be me actually releasing the reins a bit and allowing them to do a whole lot more exploration of the content of science on their own.